Hey KSOK fans, this is the Korean Conservative. You guys wanted me back, so I'm back. I used to be a social media influencer for the conservative movement before I got deplatformed everywhere, which is fine. It was bound to happen given how I say things and the subject matters I talk about. I am a speaker at rallies around Southern California, and I am an organizer of conservative speakeasies for those rare patriots in the Los Angeles or Orange County area, which is unfortunately where I am right now. And that sucks. But hope to see you live as we talk about a very taboo subject. Do we still back the blue if the blue backs mandates? Tune in. Check it out.
Welcome to KSOK Uncensored. That's right. We have the Korean Conservative back live with me here today. I'm really looking forward to the dialogue. For those of you who are here for his last segment, it was talked about for months. And actually, just recently, when I shared my year in review, I had many inquiries from people who subscribe to my channel asking if he could come back. So, excuse me. We have TKC here with us. Welcome. You live and well. We had a little bit of a lag earlier today, so bear with us. All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and jump into it. Like the intro said, we really want to touch on a very sensitive topic right now. Historically, the conservatives, conservative in nature, have backed the blue and first responders. And as you guys know, I'm married to one. But right now, I am seeing, and we all are seeing, some very disgusting displays of those oath breakers out there. And though I completely will be the first to say, I absolutely hate when all of law enforcement gets painted with one brush, just like what happened with George Floyd. What's happening right now is I am finding myself disgusted with law enforcement after seeing all of these videos surfacing of people being arrested for not wearing their mask or just vax mandates, right? So, like in New York City, I am seeing the NYPD arresting people for going into a restaurant without their vaccine passport. And for me, this is something that is incredibly sensitive. The topic of would a law enforcement officer actually take it to that level and arrest somebody over a mandate? Well, the answer is yes, they are. It's happening all over. And where we are really seeing a lot of videos coming out is in Manhattan, the NYPD. And it's so sad for me because my husband, when I met him, he was NYPD. And I know I didn't get arrested, but I was just walking down the streets in Times Square and he was on duty. He was a rookie at the time and he made fun of my umbrella. And that's how we met. So looking back though, then the NYPD is very near and dear to my heart. And it's so sad to see the direction that they have gone in. So much so that, when I see these two very young officers killed in the line of duty just recently, just this week, last week, um, obviously I feel horrible, but I can't help but think, I wonder if either of them were one of the officers that have been arresting people over mandates. I went there and it's horrible nonetheless, but it's something that is top of mind. Now, as you guys can see, we're having some issues getting TKC in the live feed. If he pops in a little bit, wonderful. I hope so, because I don't know if we can go for 30 minutes just talking about this. You guys know I have it in me. I can talk about pretty much anything. But we have a really good discussion for you guys about this, because right now what we're seeing is the conservative community, they're going to start turning on oath breakers, and you're going to see a lot less support for those brothers and sisters in blue. All right, Juan, good to see you. Steve, thank you. Ubermeth, thank you. So, but we are, that's the unfortunate piece of it. And that's something where, the left abandoned uh, supporting law enforcement years ago, but they've always really been dependent on conservatives to have their back. And what's happening now is we see that conservatives are being abandoned by our brothers and sisters in blue in many circumstances. And hey, Marcus, and we are disgusted. And therefore, our support is going to diminish rapidly. And so, since we're live, I mean, feel free to put your thoughts and opinions on the matter, and I will talk to them. But that's the very unfortunate thing that's happening right now. And meanwhile, at the same time, we are seeing the highest numbers that we have seen in decades of law enforcement officers killed in the line of duty. So it's just one of these things where we're seeing these numbers rise. These numbers are increasing drastically when it comes to law enforcement officers killed in the line of duty. And then we're seeing law enforcement officers arresting people for not adhering to these BS mandates. And it's really tough. You would think that if enough of them really stood together, especially the NYPD, with you think about how huge that department is, if they could just come together and say, hell no, we are not enforcing this BS. It's unconstitutional. If they came together and did that in unison, then we wouldn't be seeing what we're seeing right now. And quite honestly, the NYPD, that's the last department that I thought would really bend themselves over a barrel or be bent over a barrel. I mean, that's like they are pretty old school, but we're seeing it nonetheless. And I know that TKC has some experiences with seeing that with law enforcement officers in the Los Angeles area. So it sounds like Marcus agrees with me on that. I mean, it's just completely unfortunate. And our co-producer, Drew, he actually was in law enforcement, I believe, for 17 years. And he feels the exact same way. So more and more conservatives are going to stop openly supporting law enforcement officers, which is really sad because right now is when they need us most. But we need to see change, and we need to see that they are upholding the oath that they took to uphold the Constitution, right? So that's really our subject matter for today is to deep dive into that, and then to find out where you stand. I mean, do you want to continue to back the blue, which again, it's tough for me to talk about knowing that my husband's going out there and he's on the streets every night, but do we just blindly continue to support law enforcement officers, or do we say, huh, maybe we need to openly pull back on our support? I mean, just look at Australia. Those are some disgusting law enforcement officers there. Canada truckers are guiding the world, each nation. Yes. Yes, I love that. The common man and woman have had enough. I completely agree. We are completely over it. Um, yeah, one of these things, I'm actually going to have a gal on soon, likely next week, who has been at all of these, I hate to say truck driving events, but been at these rallies and protests up in Canada. And she's going to come on and talk about her experience and understanding that the United States is jumping in and going to show Canada our support. I love that. I know that means a lot to many Canadians. So I completely love what I see happening in Canada right now. Enough is enough. And we're going to see bare shelves soon. So, hey, Juan.
Well,
How's it
hello.
going, sir?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Well, good. Well, you know what? Hold on a second. Hold on. Hey, Donald, I'm sorry. I'm a little bit busy right now.
Donald.
Okay. Do not. I'll call you later. Okay. Yes, I know. Mar-a-Lago. Yes, in 2 weeks. Got it.
We'll be
I'll
there.
be there. Okay. We'll be there, right?
We'll
Yes.
be there.
Okay. Anyway, so how you
Oh
doing?
my gosh. You're saving me?
No, no, no. Every now and then you have to put this beautiful face in front of the camera. It can't be all the
Exactly.
time behind the camera. And you were talking about, law enforcement and what they're doing, especially the police officers in New York. But I'm a military guy. I've been a
Right.
military. I was a military for 28 years, and since this stuff happened, and I remember when we had the not so clean election, right? And people were saying, "Well, the military is going to save us. The military is going to save us. The military is going to save us." I was a full-blood colonel in the Air Force, and I kept saying, "Don't expect that to happen."
Right.
A lot of people like to just use that thing. Well, it was an order, right? I had to follow orders, and that's what you hear all the time right nowadays. Is, oh, I'm just following orders. Well, you know what? True patriots don't just follow orders,
Right.
and I
No.
think that's what we're seeing right now. You may see a few police officers are saying, "No, I'm not going to do that." Right? Pretty interesting. That one thing I have noticed: sheriffs seems to stop this thing about mandates and yeah, but
Right.
city police officers are quite different.
You're so
Now,
right. They absolutely are, even around here.
yeah, exactly. So, the true law in the United States are sheriffs, right? Those are elected individuals
Right.
that are given each county are given authority over the county. Everybody else is just they're not constitutional. They don't have the constitutional uh, uh, law to enforce the law. Only sheriffs do. There is a reason why federal agencies have to advise a sheriff when they come into a county, because sheriffs are constitutional, nobody else. Now, those, for the most part, sheriffs are doing what they're supposed to do by the Constitution. But city police officers, not quite. I wonder why.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. I don't know why. I don't understand. Outside of the point you're making with being elected, that makes a huge difference. And then who you hire is a representation of you. So that also makes a lot of sense to me. But pivoting, something that we're talking about here, I'm curious, Juan, what are your thoughts on what's happening up in Canada with truckers standing up against mandates?
Okay, so it only takes about what 3% for of any group of people to actually stand up and actually make a difference, right? That's why you get the three
Yeah,
percenters kind of deal, right? So now the truckers in Canada are beginning to do something about it. And if you see all the videos that we're seeing on TikTok, YouTube about the truckers, it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger,
right.
right? Can you imagine if only, let's say, 10% of the trucker force here in the United States would say enough is enough? Well, actually, just like they did in Colorado, right? When there was a sentence, that incredible sentence against that trucker. It was an accident, but he got like 100 and some years. Truckers stopped, right, going to Colorado. So
Right.
can you imagine if only 10% of the truckers in the United States, I'm going to put it, if only 10% of the transportation people, right? You know what I do for a living, right? If
Right.
only
Right.
10% will just stop. If only 10% of the truckers will just stop. If only 10%, everything will change. Every, uh, you see a
Right.
lot of small um, rallies and rising, right? But if we can put them all together one day, one week, things will change. That's what's happening
Exactly.
in Canada right now.
I think that's great. You know what they're doing is they're causing a major disruption, and we need that. We need our day-to-day lives to be disrupted so that so many people that have been asleep at the wheel can wake up to what's happening. It has to be in their faces in order for them to really wake up and start changing the way they're viewing what's happening, changing the way they vote, etc. So, just recently, last week, as many know, I was under the weather. I ordered in my groceries, right? And literally out of my grocery bill, which, family of four, so it's usually like $350 when I place it. Anyways, $100 worth of groceries, they said they were out of. And so, even something as regular as chicken tenders, like, right, like raw chicken tenders, they said that they were out of them. They were out of stock. So it just really goes to show it's impacting us already. And
Exactly.
lots
You know,
more of that to come.
yeah, I think here's the problem. Oh, by the way, I just want to say hi to Wade, Trisha, Doris, uh, and everybody who's watching. Nice to see you guys watching KSOK. We are too comfortable, way too comfortable. We're not willing to give up a little bit of our niceties to save our freedoms, to
Right.
save our nation. That's the problem. You know, everybody, not everybody, but I'm going to say it's a lot easier to sit behind a computer and go, I am a patriot. We should take this down. We should do this. You should do that. Well, when it comes to it, are you doing it?
Right.
Something as simple as, what are you doing in your town? Are you running for the school board? Are you running for that catcher? Are you running for treasurer of your town? Because that's where we have to start. The left was very smart, very, very smart. They started
Right.
taking over the education. They started taking over the schools, and that's where we at. That's why we are where we are right now. We're gonna
Right.
have to use that same strategy, and go to our towns, run for uh, school board, run for
Right.
town council. Let's take control of, let's stop complaining, let's stop bitching, and let's start doing something about this.
Exactly. Yeah, absolutely. Like I've been saying, like this is my year for boots on ground. And like I'm working with a local individual, Mark Thiessen, and he's running for governor in the state of Oregon. And this is actually really wild. I believe we have upwards of 12 different candidates running for governor in the state of Oregon at this point in the race, that are all conservative. So we have to just be, but the whole point is I'm doing more boots on ground because we do need to actually have action here at local levels. It is going to be wild to see how it plays out, though, because ultimately you want to throw your weight behind the person that's going to be able to win. But right now it's kind of a wild race here in Oregon where we have so many candidates on both sides running, since Kate Brown
But
is
you know
the
what
number
is that?
one.
That is a good thing that we have a lot of candidates on our side, because people are actually getting away from their comfort zone and trying to do something about it.
Right.
We cannot let the left win elections undisputed, with
Right.
no fights. Whatever money they got on whatever seat, let's say in Oregon, right? Because no one runs against them, they can use that money somewhere else against a real competitive race. You have to compete for every single seat of whatever, even if you think it's a lost cause. At least you keep that
Right.
person concentrated on their seat and not helping out someone else get elected.
Exactly. Absolutely. And we do eat our own, I would say, on the right a lot. So we have to be really mindful of how these candidates are going to work together once they start seeing the writing on the wall. It's actually really interesting. So Mark, who is running for governor in Oregon, he actually is a superintendent of a school district in Oregon right now. And his school district voted to not wear masks any longer in the classroom. So, what did the state of Oregon do? They have completely stopped all funding to his school district because his school district independently voted to do one thing, and the state dictator that we have doesn't agree with it. And so she pulls funding from the school district, which only hurts the children. but it's
Exactly.
all a game. It's all a game to them.
You know what? Everything that they say is all about the kids and all that kind of stuff. But when it comes down to it, they don't care. It's all about them having power and controlling the masses. That's all
Right.
it's all about. That is it. I was going to say, Tricia Ferguson had a good point. Fund the person, not the party.
Right.
That is such and so important. That is so important because, believe it or not, well, of course we believe it. We have in the Republican Party, we have people that I will not vote for because they do not support. I'm tired. I am tired of having to settle for people that I don't agree with. But just because they
Right.
have an R behind it, well, okay, they're just like Democrats. Vote for the person, not for the party. Support
Right.
the person, not the party. For example, you guys know that I am in New Hampshire. I live in New Hampshire. We have a great candidate for the U.S. Senate, General Don Bolduc. This guy 10 tours in Afghanistan. One of those horseback soldiers. He was one of the first ones in Afghanistan.
Oh,
This guy
wow.
is amazing. Is amazing. In fact, we're going to book him for you to interview him, and you're going to be so amazed about him.
I would
Now,
love that.
he is not an established candidate, and the NHGOP will not support him.
Wow.
So now they're throwing multiple candidates on that race that have no chance and nobody have heard of, just so he has a hard time getting the nomination. Why? Because they can control him.
Right. Right. Yeah, absolutely. That's how sick it is. It's all about
Yes.
control. Oh, it's so frustrating. Do we have TKC here? I know it's been a bit of a wild ride with connection over there. Yeah, that's what happens when you live in under Gavin Newsom's regime there in California.
In California.
Oh
Yep.
no. Well,
So, well,
uh,
hopefully we can get him soon. And but anyway, so that's for everyone that's watching. The bottom line is get away from the computer for a little bit. Go to a town, see what seats are open. What do you qualify for? Put your name on it.
right. Exactly. I love that. Absolutely. It's time for us to be bold and make decisions that are putting us out of our comfort zone because it's the right thing to do for our communities and for our families because they are after our babies. That is for sure.
Oh, no doubt about it. That's how they can control people, right?
Right, exactly.
So,
Well,
and
I really appreciate you standing in because, though I could have struggled through 30
oh,
minutes
not you.
talking nonstop on my own. Could be painful for those listening. And
Oh,
so
no, not at all. You get very loyal followers, and you have, I remember. I'm sure you remember our first show together, right?
oh my gosh. Yeah, when I ran like 15 minutes into the next person, I was like, "Oh my gosh." But yeah, so yeah,
But
I can talk. That's why I have it in me. I'm glad you jumped in though. And thank you all for hanging through. I know we had some connectivity issues. Next week, I have Joe Kent. I'm just saying it now. Gosh, that better not fall through since I've said it. But he is actually running here in Southwest. I don't live in Southwest Washington. I'm in Portland, but just over the Columbia River. He is running, and he is amazing. He's actually been invited to Mar-Lago. He has Trump support, so he's an amazing candidate, and there's a lot of excitement behind him. And actually, well, you know what? I won't even spoil it. Tune in next Thursday. That is who I have planned to be on the show. Joe Kent, for those that want to look him up. And I'm gonna just wrap right into it. Juan, you guys don't forget that we are partnered with My Pillow, Mike Lindell, an amazing
that's right.
patriot.
Hmm.
We have our own code RAM. And like I've said, I've done the calculations myself. It's close to a 60% discount. And I know that Christmas is over, but we all have birthdays and other anniversaries, etc. So keep him in mind. He's being dropped by retailers, but now banks too. So that man has
Mhm.
not had a smooth ride, and I would like to show him all the support that we can as patriots. And again, thank you for
Exactly.
hanging in there with me, and thank you, Juan, for stepping in. I appreciate it very much. And
My
TKC,
pleasure.
we'll
It's
have
an
you
honor.
back on.
Okay. Bye,
All right,
everybody.
guys. Bye. Take care.